Ladies and gentlemen, it is truly a remarkable occasion for all of us to be gathered here today. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to everyone who has taken the time and made the effort to attend. We are here because, despite any differences we may have, we share far more common ground than points of disagreement. We are also living in a time when freedom of speech is increasingly being challenged by authoritarian tendencies and restrictive policies. Many of us recognize that the issues we face today are no longer simply matters of left versus right, but questions of right versus wrong. We can all agree that colonialism, imperialism, and exploitation have endured for far too long. People from across the political spectrum have witnessed the genocide in Gaza and have seen how the media, corporations, and the weapons industry have, in the eyes of many, marginalized or silenced those who opposed violence and spoke out on matters of conscience. It is time for adults to come together and have conversations that are sensitive, difficult, and yet vitally important. Progress requires honest dialogue, mutual respect, and a willingness to engage with challenging issues, even when opinions differ. Let me start with a proposition I think everyone here can agree on. A sovereign, stable Middle East is good for the Middle East. It is also good for Europe and America.
It's not even controversial. Endless wars, endless interventions, endless refugee crises, nobody benefits from that except a handful of people making money from chaos.
Right? Stability doesn't mean supporting dictators forever and calling it peace. That's been one of the biggest mistakes of American foreign policy.
Exactly, we keep hearing this phrase, regional stability. Every time they say it, somehow it means another strongman gets a blank check while ordinary people get crushed.
And the public is expected to accept that narrative without scrutiny. Journalists are told certain governments are our partners, therefore criticism must be tempered. That's not journalism, that's public relations.
Let's be honest. Both parties in Washington have done this. Republicans do it. Democrats do it. Different rhetoric, same outcome. Human rights become conditional whenever strategic interests enter the room.
As a conservative, I'll say something conservatives don't always like hearing. We have our own blind spots. We spent years defending relationships we should have questioned more carefully.
The left has blind spots too.
Absolutely.
Some people act as though every problem in the region started with Republicans. That's nonsense. Democratic administrations have sold weapons, backed authoritarian governments, and looked the other way when allies crossed red lines.
Because states operate according to interests, that's the uncomfortable truth. Governments pursue what they perceive to be strategic advantages. Principles often become secondary.
Which is exactly why people don't trust institutions anymore.
People don't trust them because they notice contradictions. We speak about democracy while funding governments that imprison dissidents. We speak about freedom while supporting systems that deny people meaningful political participation.
Egypt is an obvious example.
So is the UAE.
20 years ago, I probably wouldn't have said that publicly.
That's because 20 years ago, you'd have been called every name under the sun for questioning it.
The problem isn't that these states achieved nothing. It's that Western policymakers often treated authoritarianism as the only alternative to chaos.
As if Arabs and Muslims are incapable of self-government.
Exactly, and that's both insulting and historically false.
Washington convinced itself that freedom was dangerous when ordinary people exercised it.
Generations paid the price by having their political aspirations treated as threats.
Arab Spring exposed that contradiction. The real issue is sovereignty, governments deriving legitimacy from their people, not foreign sponsors.
Once you accept that principle, difficult questions follow, including why governments claiming to support Palestinians have often done so little to protect them.
Many people see not only Western complicity in Gaza, but regional complicity as well.
That's why frustration crosses ideological lines. People want accountability and don't see it.
Because power protects itself.
Still, the fact we're having this conversation is encouraging.
A progressive, a conservative, a journalist, a populist, we disagree on plenty, but not on the fundamentals.
Stable, sovereign countries are better than dependency and dictatorship.
People deserve accountable government.
Media narratives should be questioned.
And ordinary people are smarter than elites assume.
There is a parallel that nobody wants to discuss.
Which parallel?
The fact that populations living under dictatorships failed to stop a genocide.
That's uncomfortable.
It should be.
Why?
because many people in the West tell themselves that this is what separates them from authoritarian societies. They believe that if something this grave were happening, democratic citizens would force their governments to act differently.
But that's not what happened.
The left failed to stop it.
The right failed to stop it.
Protests happened.
Elections happened.
Petitions, campaigns, demonstrations, statements.
Yet the outcome remained the same.